What do you think? Is Tony Blair going to be seizing control as a backseat driver in a Keir Starmer government?
No, but I think he'll be advising it. And it's quite right that Keir Starmer should take advice from a former Labour leader who won a landslide in 1997 and had a historic 3 terms. So it's quite right that Keir Starmer listens to Tony Blair's experiences and tries to actually capitalise on them himself as he heads towards number 10.
How popular do you think Tony Blair... I mean, obviously he was very popular back in the day, but how popular do you think that Tony Blair is with the public at large, and how popular is he with the Labour Party members?
I think Tony Blair has turned toxic after Iraq. So quite clearly he's not popular. I mean, it was a gradual process. If you remember, he won his 3rd election after the invasion of Iraq. Now, I don't think that the public warm to him, and a lot of the Labour Party don't either. But that doesn't mean his experience is not worthwhile listening to. And I think it's not just about winning elections or how to govern. It's also Keir Starmer needs to listen to Tony Blair about the mistakes that New Labour made. And as a result of that, he can learn from those mistakes.
Now, Scott, I can see that Tony Blair's thinking this is a way into governing again, because I'm looking at Keir and I'm looking at sort of the polls in the papers. And it seems, whilst people might say we're not happy with the Conservative Party, they're also saying, do you know what, we're not really engaging with the Labour Party. They've got no vision, they've got no ideas. And Keir keeps making U-turns, whether it's about the green issues, renationalisation, what he thinks of women, ULEZ. So is this vacuum, as it seemed, of a person and of a party really in need of Tony Blair, who at least has got connections, he seems he's got money and he's got ideas? Is that what it's about? Empty vessel needs somebody to fill it.
That's my point about learning from previous mistakes. So, for instance, that Keir Starmer has come up with 5 missions. That's very much a similar thing to what Tony Blair did with his famous pledge card in 1997. And in fact, the pledge card did actually work. Class sizes were reduced to under 30, 100,000 taken off NHS waiting lists. Even on the economy, he was able to get debt below 40%, whereas now it stands at 100%. Those are the kind of things I think Keir Starmer can learn from. And you're right, I think there's a general feeling from the public that they don't like the Conservatives very much, but they're not quite sure what Labour actually stands for. What Tony Blair showed is what happens when you put a lot of thought into government, not just winning elections. And as a result, his first term was a huge success. The pledges he made by 2005 were so wishy-washy as to be absolutely meaningless. Now, there's a mistake you can learn from if Keir Starmer is hoping for a 2nd and 3rd term.
Nigel, where do you think Keir Starmer is in the Labour Party politics? I mean, he got elected as the Labour leader by pursuing a sort of a Corbynista agenda because he knew that would appeal to Labour members who were voting in that election. He's now sort of coming across the masquerade as a Blairite, probably because Tony Blair was good at winning elections and he wants to copy that. If and when Keir Starmer becomes Prime Minister, where can we expect him to govern from? The Corbyn side, the Blair side? Where do you see him in that political space?
I think from the centre. And it was certainly what Tony Blair realised. That was the whole point about New Labour. It was to show a break with the past, and that the important thing was to appeal to the majority of the country, not just bits of it. Now, that's exactly what Keir Starmer is doing, that he's saying, look, we've broken with the past, we've broken with the Corbyn era, and we will govern as a centre Labour government, which is exactly what Tony Blair was doing.
Nigel Nelson, thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning and giving your thoughts on that.